Welcome to Crime Besties to episode 90. We're
10 to go.
I was going to say we're inching closer.
Yes. Very exciting. Nearly 100.
Yep, very exciting.
Need more suggestions on that.
We've had quite a few come through. I've been keeping a list.
Oh,
so
good.
we've got some ideas. There's one, I'll talk to you about this one off air, but there is one that I think is a front runner for me.
Okay.
So, but if you've got any more suggestions, keep them coming because we will be finalising that. Well, we're almost ready to sort of do that part of our scheduling. So,
yes.
Please let us know, or any other cases that you want to hear as well. I love hearing people's suggestions.
Oh, definitely. No, we definitely use them. We definitely put them on the list, and we may not do them immediately, but we do. We're getting through that list and slowly.
Yeah, that's it. One episode a week.
Absolutely.
Now, tell me, how has your week been? I think we spoke about this in last episode. You weren't feeling 100%. You're still not.
Well, literally, I think the next day I sent you a voice memo where I don't know that there was any voice.
You didn't have any. It was like, hello, Emma.
I had zero voice the following day after we recorded. So thankfully, because at that point we were on that Friday, we were like, oh, should we do it another day then? Till we hold off. Yeah, luckily we didn't because, I didn't have a voice pretty much. Definitely Saturday, nothing. Sunday, I had barely any voice, and then got back to work this week with, bit of voice. And
just cracked
still hear it.
again.
Yeah, you'll still hear it now. I'm still slowly getting it back. Yeah. And sometimes I'll go to speak and there's no projection. Sorry about the raspy voice that we might cop by the end of this episode.
No, that's fine. The people will, all will be forgiven. So
I'm sure.
Thank you for being here and doing it when you're still not feeling 100%.
I feel okay, just tired.
Yeah,
I guess.
But that's the thing, isn't it? And then you can't get a good sleep because you're not feeling great, and then it takes longer to get better.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, because I don't stop. You don't stop. You just get,
you can't. We're
life.
mums. Yeah.
Yeah, working, etc. That it's like if I take a day off, I'm just further behind. So
yeah, exactly.
And the kids don't stop. So I don't stop.
No, they don't. They don't.
So we just soldier on. I've had a quiet weekend this weekend to sort of take it easy and try and get back a little bit of rest and things. So I finished watching a series today that I've been slowly it's been my go-to of when I just need nothing to watch sort of stuff.
Go on.
But I've watched it before, and I'm sure all of our audience have definitely watched this. And if you haven't, holy crap, what rock have you been living under? But Wentworth.
Oh, Wentworth is fantastic.
God, I rewatched the entire
Have you?
Thing.
That's
it's been going for a while.
Okay,
so this has been my one that I've been going on for quite some time. But yeah, I finished that whole thing today. So I'm now what am I going to what am I going to
revisit now?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, no, oh God, that is so bloody good, that show,
it's
that
such
series.
A good show.
So good.
So good.
Yeah. No, really enjoyed going back on it. I feel like I how there's because there was the new ones they brought in, the last two seasons were there was quite a gap between when they then brought the last two seasons out.
Yeah.
There's a clear difference between them, but still, bloody good.
Yeah, good TV.
Yeah.
Is this just the second time you've watched it through, or is it?
Yeah, I think it
one
would
that
be the second time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've only ever watched it once. It's not something I've revisited, but maybe that might be a goer. But then I've got so much other new TV that I always want to watch.
I'll give me some suggestions.
There is an infinite number of Real Housewives franchises.
Well,
have
true.
you started Rhode Island?
No. Actually, I only saw that the other day.
It's only new.
Good?
Oh my God, it's so good.
Done.
It's so good. I reckon it's look, still Salt Lake's up there for me. It's up there.
Yeah.
It always will be.
Mm-hmm.
But this has got a similar vibe to it. You know how Beverly Hills is a bit polished?
Yes.
Well, these Rhode Island girls aren't. And so I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's quite scrappy, and they're already attacking each other's appearances and things they wear and their character, and so-and-so's having an affair with so-and-so, and it's actually fantastic.
Oh,
it's
wow.
really
So it's
good.
Jersey Shore-esque.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably sort of a little bit, dipping a toe into that pool, maybe.
Oh, because I'm a bit mad on the Valley at the moment too.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into that.
Oh wow, you got to watch that.
I've got it sitting there.
Yeah,
I just haven't gotten into
it now.
Yet.
Season 3, I think they're up to on that one that I'm watching.
Actually, they advertised that in one of the Rhode Island episodes I was watching, so I do need to get into that.
Yeah, because I loved Vanderpump, and to then go into that one, it's closer to my age, I guess, in
Definitely.
that sense of like,
Yeah.
you sort of see the transition into the different lifestyle that you're like, yeah, it's very interesting.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, actually, I'll have to get into that. That'll be my next thing, I think.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
for
good.
sure. I went away this weekend with two of my girlfriends.
Yes.
So we're actually recording this on a Sunday. So thank you again for being flexible and, but my girlfriends and I, instead of giving each other presents for our 40th, we decided to go away for the weekend instead. And it was so nice. We just went away for one night, but it was sort of 24 hours of absolute bliss. We went to wineries, we had beautiful food, we had massages and facials, and it was just really,
So
really
good.
nice
I
time.
loved that I rang you on Friday at 11:30 and
Yep.
I was like, please tell me, wine in hand. And you're like, yeah.
Duh. You know me.
It's like very
course I
proud,
do.
very proud.
I think I was into my second tasting by that point. That was great.
So good.
So that was really fun. And I just felt like, it was 24 hours or maybe a little bit longer, but just to stop. We didn't have to
Yeah.
think about anyone else. We just did whatever we wanted to do. Didn't have to worry about kids or sports or, all that
Yes.
sort of stuff. So that was really nice.
So good just to switch off and have
Yep.
you time.
Yep, and actually have conversations because normally when we catch up, I mean, sometimes we get to catch up without the kids, like if we go out
Yeah.
for dinner or something, but it's still, you're on the clock, you've kind of got, then we've got work the next day,
Yeah.
But we just had time,
Yeah.
unfettered time. It was beautiful. It was really, really good.
So much fun. That's the
Yeah.
best. Oh,
Yeah.
It gives you refreshment to get back into the swing of things this week.
Yep, sure. Well, speaking of like things that have very recently come out, so I think because this episode's going to come out about a week after we've recorded it, more may have played out in the media since. But I have to say, Kylie McBride and Kimberly French, two of our listeners, were right on top of this and sent us messages very, very quickly when they heard
Yes.
about our mate. No, he's not our mate. The
No.
absolute piece of shit that is Alex Murdoch has been granted a retrial, but not for the financial crimes.
that's a sealed deal.
That's a sealed deal, which is he's got 40 years for that, I think. So regardless, hope he's probably going to die in prison for that anyway. But he's still trying because he's a fucking dick to he's
appealed
successfully, his
the
appeal's
murder
been
charges.
successful because of that fucking Becky Hill. We talked about her in our episode.
She's got a lot to answer for.
Yeah. I mean, she faced court for her involvement in not only this case, but other cases that she interfered with.
Yeah.
She only got like 300 hours of community service or something. Like she never went to prison, I don't think.
It's costing, like, the taxpayers, like, in these court hearings. I mean, I dare say millions of dollars potentially, like
Probably.
hundreds of thousands of dollars minimum
Yes.
of like taxpayer money being wasted then to retry these people
see,
because of that.
This is what gets me right. Why would they retry someone who's already got a 40-year prison sentence?
Yeah,
Like I understand.
appeals are appeals. If there is a legal standing for it, they're going to
have to do it. Yeah.
Otherwise, I guess making a bit of a mockery of the legal system, I guess, in some way.
I get that from a legal standpoint. They need to go through and do the right thing, but then you just wish there was some kind of caveat that was like, well, why are we wasting everyone's time and taxpayer money to retry this guy who's probably going to die in prison anyway?
Yeah, but I guess then it becomes like then what it would be like no one's convicted of that murder. Then it's kind of the case doesn't get officially closed.
Yeah, so then what are they going to do? Reinvestigate?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they would have to. It'd be a cold case then,
It'd be a
wouldn't
cold
it?
case then.
Yeah.
Which when we may maybe know who did it. Like,
yeah.
but we just haven't gone and done the trial for it.
No, it's
It's a sticky one, isn't it? Because I guess
really
with
is.
his 40 years for the financial stuff, what chances are there of him getting parole or already with that, like him getting out
it's
early?
40 years, no
It's
parole,
no parole?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
I remember that from like doing the case. I feel like it was fairly solid and tight that 40 years and he's going to be dead before then. So, yeah.
So at least that's
At
maintained.
least that. But still, like, I mean, I don't know. I guess from perspective of like Maggie's family and, all that sort of thing and, and Paul's extended family and things like that, they should have closure on like the fact of who did this. Because it's, but then there's the other stuff that's connected to him that I think needs further investigation anyway.
Well, that's exactly right.
Because there's potentially other murders that he's been at least connected to.
Yeah, so maybe in the reinvestigation of this, the retrying of this, maybe they'll bring in some new evidence and really fuck him over.
Well, because the reason they sort of like, with this case, it kind of threw him that there was the Piper's going to join us for today's episode.
Sorry, everyone.
It's all good. Yeah, there was the fact that the video evidence of Paul at the dog houses and things that came in during the trial.
That's right.
Like he kind of fumbled over all of that evidence, and that really screwed him. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, when they go into another trial, they know that evidence exists. They'll spin it how they want to spin it.
Yep.
Like it could turn out. I don't know. Maybe they'll find some way to spin that.
Yeah, well, they've had time now to mull it over and figure out what they're going to do.
How they're going to address it.
I guess we need to just keep an eye on what unfolds and see. I wonder have they actually given a date of when it's going to be?
Oh, I think it's like another 12 months away.
It would have to be.
Yeah, I feel like it was mid next year or something. I remember reading something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't quote me, but it was.
That sounds right. Yeah.
But so he'll sit in jail. I mean, obviously this whole time anyway. He's not going anywhere.
No, that's the thing. He's going to be in prison.
Yeah.
Well, he has. Yeah, he's still serving that financial crime.
Nothing else that's keeping him busy whilst he sits and rots in jail. You know, like.
Seriously, I know podcasts are not a visual medium, but
that was an eye roll.
The face says it all. All right, we have had quite a number of new Patreons this week, so a massive shout out to Raylene Latham, Winona, Deb Rush, Shona Porter, who listens with her workmates. So thank you, Shona, for sharing us with your friends, and to Jules. We've had another coffee bought for us by Miss Tan.
Another?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, she's gorgeous.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She said her granddaughter was listening to the banter part of our episode. Her granddaughter's a teenager.
Yes.
And said to her, "Oh, Grammy, I know why you love these too much. They swear as much as you do."
Hope you told her to fuck off.
So thank you, Miss Tan, and thank you to your granddaughter.
Yes.
And then I just had another shout out today because this kind of made me chuckle a little bit. But Alison Riddle, who's one of our Patreons, she said that her husband steals her other ear pod and listens to us at the same time.
Doesn't want to admit to it, but he really likes it.
Shout out to Alison Riddle's husband.
Oh, God. It's like Peter watching The Real Housewives. No, hates it.
What happens to always be walking past when I'm watching it.
Knows all the characters' names.
You know what? He was like that with Sex and the City because I watched Sex and the City so much. Like I probably have watched that through 10 times probably in my lifetime.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never rewatched it. I've seen all of it, never rewatched it.
I've rewatched it all so many times. That. And so Peter reckons cumulatively over time, he's probably watched it all without watching it at all.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm sure he's in the background watching every bit of it.
Only the sexy bits.
Oh,
with
sure,
probably. Sure. All right. So today's episode is it's one that I definitely remember. Mm-hmm. It's horrific in its unfolding and what happened and all of it, really. But we're talking today about the Lin Family Murders in New South Wales, in Sydney. And, yeah, it's a case that, look, I think it was incredibly violent. It's definitely something that if this is not what you would want to listen to, there's some really sort of – we're not going to go into massively graphic detail, but there is a lot out there if you start looking at this case. I know certainly there were certain pictures that I just stumbled upon when I was looking up this case during the week, and I was like, whoa. I didn't realise these were all made public or so public.
Yeah.
Some of them are really, really gruesome. So take care if you are going to have a look at things after listening to this episode. But basically the case is surrounding the Lin family. So there was the mum and dad, so Min, who went by the name of Norman Lin, and he was actually born in China. His parents also were obviously born in China, and then he actually came here and was doing some studying, and he met his wife Lily here. So her name was Yun Li Lin, And she was over here studying as well. They met and then they actually moved back to China. They were married over in China, and I believe Brenda was their first child was born in China.
Yep.
They then immigrated back to Australia, and eventually Norman's mum and dad also immigrated, and his sister and her husband. So it was sort of like one of first generation Australians really, and they were, well, the Lin family were incredibly hardworking, incredibly successful because of how hard they worked. And, you know, they were probably the picture of, you know, that ideal immigrant family.
Yeah.
They wanted an opportunity for their children that they felt they couldn't get when they lived in China. And so they really wanted to make an incredible life and an incredible home and everything for their children, which is what they did.
They absolutely did, yeah.
There was such, really good upstanding members of the community. So when they first came over here, I think originally Norman now what did he do over in China? I can't remember off the top of my head. He did a commerce degree, I know, when he was here, and that's how he and Lily met.
Yeah.
And I can't actually remember what his profession was over in China, but when they moved here, they decided they opened a business originally that they then sold, and then they had an opportunity to buy a news agency near their home. So they lived in North Epping in New South Wales, and they lived in a really lovely sort of family home, quite a large family home.
Yeah.
By this stage, they actually also had a couple of investment properties, and one of which Norman's mum and dad lived in.
Yes.
And they ended up taking on the ownership of this news agency at the North Epping shopping centre. And that meant that they became quite well known within the community, and they were known as a very hardworking family, really kind. I think Lily did a lot of the sort of behind the counter kind of work. People in the community say that the success of the news agency was a lot because Lily was such a lovely and kind person. She wanted to get to know everybody. She had made sort of personal connection with all of the customers, and that really sort of drove their business in a lot of ways. And then Norman, or Min, he was sort of the backbone of the operation. He was the one who was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and delivering the papers and all of the stuff that you have to do as a news agent.
Yeah.
Kids...
Yeah, so they grew their business so much that it was doing about $1 million turnover each year. I mean, that's incredible.
For a small business,
that's huge. Yeah, but
especially like we're talking in the early, so it's like 2000, in the early 2000s.
Early 2000s, yeah.
By the time they sort of got the business to this point. So they were doing really, really well.
Yeah.
And the kids were, so by this stage, so they had 3 children. They had Brenda, and then they had Henry and then Terry. So Henry at this time, so I think he was 12, Terry was 9, and Brenda was 15. Yeah. So, the kids were, I'm pretty sure, did Brenda go to a Catholic girls' school?
Yes.
And she was described by her school principal as being incredibly intelligent and very studious, but also kind of a little bit mischievous sometimes, and had really good friendships and very successful in terms of her schooling.
Yeah.
And she was actually studying French as a language at the time at school, and they had the opportunity to go over to New Caledonia for a school excursion, I guess.
Yeah,
for a school trip.
Camp, and I guess you'd call it a school camp, but very cool one to go and do that with
that would
the
be
school,
amazing
the class. Yeah,
I know when I was in year 9, the kids who were doing French, was it year 9 or year 10? The kids doing French at my school went to New Caledonia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was, what an amazing opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. It'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we should mention too. So living with the family at this time was Lily's sister, Irene Lin. So she was also living in the family home with them. So she had immigrated out here as well. So
she came over to study. So she was actually here on a study visa.
Yes.
And then I think she ended up then going on to do her master's or something like that.
She was 39 at the time of when we sort of into this. But she was she was studying at the same time as living with them. and working in the news agency as well, so part-time. So, yeah.
And the kids would help out here and there as well. Apparently the boys would go and roll newspapers and do bits and pieces around. So it was a very much a family affair. They were a really close-knit family. So Min or Norman's mum and dad lived really close to them. Well, sorry, no, they didn't. They lived about a 50-minute drive away.
Yeah, it was a fair distance.
But his sister Cathy and her husband Robert and their son lived literally 300 metres away. There was there was basically a park in front of their house, and they lived across the other side of the park.
Yeah.
And so they were really intertwined in one another's lives. But as an extended family unit, they would get together every single Friday night for family dinner. It was a bit of a non-negotiable. They'd go over to Cathy and Norman's mum and dad's place. They would always cook dinner, and quite often the three younger boys, so Cathy and Robert's son and Terry and Henry would often stay the night with their grandparents, and then the grandparents the next day would take them to their activities. Well, I'm guessing like Saturday would be a really busy day at the news agency. So that was something that they could kind of help out with and did. That was just the kind of nature of their family unit and how they operated.
Yeah.
I think Brenda was probably a little bit older at this point and kind of a little bit more self-sufficient in terms of getting herself to where she needed to be on the weekends, and probably didn't want to hang out with
grandparents,
little boys and grandparents. So
she was very close with her siblings though too, with her younger brothers. They had a very tight relationship. So even though she probably didn't stay and do those things, that she would still call them her best friends. So really lovely family unit. Cathy, which is Min's sister, and her husband, which we call, he goes by the name Robert or G. They moved out here, and Robert, he was an ear, nose and throat doctor back in China, but he found it very hard when they immigrated out to Australia to have that qualification recognised here, and had to do further training and all these sorts of things that he didn't pass.
Yeah, so I read somewhere that there was like a conversion course. It was like 12 months, which that was the thing I don't think he passed.
He didn't pass that.
But then if he actually then wanted to practice his specialty, there would have anyway been another 2 or 3 years worth of supervised study and practice during that time. So it's a big deal.
Absolutely.
But he didn't quite even get to that point.
No. So he brought that skill with him, but wasn't able to then use it here in Australia. So he was, I guess, a little bit at a loss what he would do from there. So he ended up working in the family business as well.
Well, at the start when he first moved here, he actually opened a restaurant.
He did. Yeah, he tried to bring out 2 chefs from China as well, but unfortunately the Australian government wouldn't pass their visas and things to get out here. So the restaurant was a failure, unfortunately.
Yeah, it didn't even last 12 months. I don't think.
No.
I think they opened it without these 2 chefs.
Yes, they did open it. Yeah, but it didn't get. I guess without the local chefs that he was hoping to bring here, training up new other chefs here in Australia wasn't as easy as he thought, or so it didn't go as well as he would have hoped. Yeah.
So I think he lost a fair bit of money in that venture, and I guess it's a bit of a kick in the guts when you try something like that and it doesn't work.
But I find it hard to go like, I'm an ear, nose and throat doctor and now I'm going to be a restaurateur. They're not very different.
I was going to say they're not really transferable skills, are they?
Whereas I can see, commerce for background kind of thing and going, well, I've opened a news agency.
Yeah, and I think that's why Min was so successful, why Norman and Lily were so successful, because Min had that background. He knew how to run and operate a business. He was trained in Australia, like he did his qualification, most of it here. So he knew how all the Australian all the things you need to know about running a business. He was able to sort of hit the ground running and do what he needed to do. But because their business was so successful and because they were so family oriented, he didn't leave Robert high and dry. No. He employed Robert. And I think the way that I understand it from different people, and I'm talking about people in the community who knew them, Norman wanted to give Robert almost a sense of ownership in the business. Like he really wanted Robert to feel the respect that he felt as a business owner. And so it wasn't like he was
throwing him a bone and, like making him feel
and it wasn't like Norman would treat Robert like his subordinate
No.
or anything like that.
No.
Which comes up a little bit later. But he really tried to make it collaborative, and people in the community saw that and recognised that and said that absolutely it was something that, it wasn't like Norman went around and, felt like he was better than anyone else who was also helping work in his
family
business.
was everything to these people. So that, their extended family that were here in Australia, that was their core place to be.
Yeah.
There was a comment from Brenda that I read that where she said that in life they were basically raised with this feeling of that there can be bad people in the world, but you've always got family, no matter what. And so they were your people you went to for all your love and support. And, and then there was friends and things that you make, but that you always come back to family. So, if that's how you've been raised, I mean, that's what Norman, was instilling in his own daughter, that family is the most important thing. I can't imagine him treating someone like that in a way, as you say, as a subordinate, more an equal in that family business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we're probably now coming to the day that changed everything for this family. So on the evening of the 17th of July in 2009, which was a Friday, they gathered for their usual Friday night dinner.
Or should you say, so Brenda at this stage, she'd left, a couple of days before that again, I think. She'd gone on her trip to New Caledonia, as we mentioned earlier.
Sorry, you're absolutely
So she was
right.
not in Australia at this point. She was, flown out on a flight, I believe, I want to say the 15th of July, and I might be wrong.
I think that's right,
that sound
actually.
right?
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
I think they flew out as a
Yeah.
class. It was interesting. She said that when she got to the airport, her friends were all saying goodbye to their parents and crying and, going for a whole week overseas. And at that age, that's huge. I mean, I can't imagine being 15 and going overseas, like, without family. So it's huge. But she said she didn't cry when she was at the airport. She said goodbye to her parents. She'd said to her mum that she loved her and that goodbye, but she didn't. Her dad, who took her to the airport, she said they just didn't do that. That's not what they would do as a family. It was, she was respectful and, lovingly said goodbye, but without using those words.
Yeah, she actually said in an interview that she'd never actually told her dad that out loud that she loved him. Interesting.
I mean, it's culturally, that's really, that doesn't say that, well, I always say actions speak louder than words. That they would have known that they loved each other. Absolutely.
100%.
But it was just something that culturally that's not what you say verbally. Right.
I found Brenda's account of the day, the night before she left, because I think her flight left, they were leaving at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something to go to the airport. I mean, even the fact that Min got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to take her to the airport shows how much he loves her.
Exactly. Yeah.
But basically, the night before, she was saying goodbye to her mum, and they had a bit of a hug and a kiss, and then she went to say goodbye to her brothers. But her auntie was in bed in her bedroom already with the door shut, and she said, with respect to her privacy, I just sort of let that go, and I was going to see her in a week, so it didn't really matter.
Only for a week.
It was fine, and she sort of went to bed, woke up the next morning, and thinking she'd see her family a week later when she got back from New Caledonia. So on this evening of the 17th of July in 2009, they've done their family dinner, and it was a normal evening by all accounts. It was,
although apparently I think it was Grandma who was hassling I think it was Henry particularly. She was like, come and wanted him to stay the night, just him. But he for some reason decided no, he didn't want to do that.
So he was actually booked to play badminton the next morning with Robert, with his uncle. So they were both really keen badminton players. And by the sounds of it, Henry, who was only 12 years old at the time, was a really good badminton player. There was sort of stories about him. He wasn't great at ball sports, but he was really good at racket sports. So he was really good at table tennis, badminton. They were his things. Didn't like contact sports at all.
Fair.
Which is completely fair. And then, and because he was so good, he could play against his uncle, Robert, who was also apparently a really good badminton player. And so they would often just go, the two of them, to to play a game. So that was what was scheduled for the following morning.
Right.
And so Henry was like, it's too far away for then
to get
Uncle Robert to come pick me up and take me back to badminton. So he went home with his mum and dad and his brother that night, back to their place, and Cathy, Robert and their son went back to their home after the dinner.
Yes.
The next morning, so we're now talking on the 18th of July in 2009, the news agency was due to open. I think they opened at 7:00 in the morning on a Saturday. And there were people people in the community who would go and get their newspaper first thing Saturday morning and probably go back home and read it while they were drinking their coffee and eating their brekkie. And on this particular morning, people were showing up or going out the front to get their newspapers and realising they hadn't been delivered, trying to call the shop, trying to call the store to see what had happened. These things happen. Like sometimes, houses get missed, but apparently Norman never missed. Yeah. Never missed a day. They never not opened.
No.
There was always somebody there.
Yeah.
And so this made people really, really concerned. Now, there were people in the community who knew enough about this family that they knew how to contact Cathy.
Yeah.
And
I think it says a lot about the community. That says a lot,
doesn't it? It was such a tight-knit community. I mean, I think they lived very close to the news agency
they did.
Anyway.
Yes.
So the family were community members were able to get in contact with Cathy and go, this is really strange. We've tried to call the
store, the
Lin Family home and haven't been able to get in, find any information. But the store's not open. And so Cathy immediately was like, what do you think you would do? Would you go to the store and open it and try and get in contact, or would you go over to their house?
I think because from what I remember, she sort of did like the whole, maybe he's sick, Yeah.
But she had keys to the business.
I guess in that scenario, complete, I think I'd probably go to the business and open up.
Yeah, I've thought about it now, I don't actually know what I would do. I would feel the immediacy of needing to open the business because that was apparently there was stacks of newspapers that had been delivered overnight and nothing had been done. So I would feel the draw to that. I think I'd probably go there
and keep trying to call him or, and call.
And be like, if he's sick, maybe he's just slept in or something.
But surely get hold of of Lily or,
Yeah, well, I think she did. Actually, I don't even know if she tried. I think all she did was, they lived 300 metres away as well. What are we
talking, 2009? They would have had mobile phones.
Yes.
So I reckon I'd go straight to the store and be constantly trying to call different phone numbers, to try and get rouse someone. Or maybe split up and say...
That's what I was thinking. I'll go to the house, you go and open the shop.
You go open the shop, I'll go to the house. Yeah, I'd split up maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting when you think about that. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah. Anyway, but Cathy and Robert decide to immediately go over to the Lin family home. And apparently the door was unlocked.
Yes.
And so they let themselves in. I think they actually did have a key to the house.
Yep.
Whether they would have used it at that time or not doesn't really matter. They've gone inside. Now, downstairs, everything looked absolutely fine, untouched, the way the house always looked. So they've thought, Cathy has thought, I guess if they're unwell, they'd still be in bed. She's gone upstairs. I think she first opened...
Then you walked up to the top of the stairs. There was immediately Min and Lily's bedroom was off to the right. So she went... That was the first bedroom that they opened the door for. And with opening that door, all she saw was red.
And
she said she could see Lily's arm with her watch. She could see her watch on her wrist, which was sort of out of the bed. And she just immediately knew that Lily was not alive.
Yeah. She didn't see anyone else in that room.
Not at that point.
At that point. She has just, I guess, in an absolute panic, she's then run to Henry and Terry's room. They shared a room. And she's gone in there and seen an equally horrific scene.
So Robert's with her at this stage too, and he did go into that room then, and he did, I believe, touch the boys to check if they were alive?
There's actually conjecture around this.
that?
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, right, but he's there. Yeah.
Yep, he's there.
Yeah.
So with that, Lily dials 000.
They did also check Irene's room too as well and found, again, similar scene. But then they ring 000. Well, Cathy does.
Cathy rings 000.
You heard that 000 call?
Oh my God. Look, I've written down here, don't forget to talk about the 000 call.
Kills me, that
Kills
call.
me. Fucking kills me. He is awful.
He's awful, but she's frustrating.
She's frustrating. It is the most frustrating phone call you will probably ever listen to. But I think, okay, she is obviously in extreme distress.
Yes.
There's a bit of a language barrier. When I say that, she's got a very thick accent when she's speaking in English. She's hysterical.
She does flick to Cantonese I mean, look, someone with English as their second language, I can completely understand in distress. You revert to your complete, your first language.
When they
100%.
translate the call, though, she's still
not giving more information.
She's not, but she only speaks in Cantonese when she's talking to Robert.
Yes.
So in amongst all of this, the 000 operator she basically says something along the lines of, I need help. I think my brother's family is dead, basically. Or somebody's killed them.
Somebody's killed her or somebody's killed them.
And he's like,
no,
they've died. And what makes you think that? And she's like, I don't know. There's blood and I don't know.
It's like pulling
him. But then she's also trying to manage Robert, because at this point she's speaking to him in Cantonese, and when that's translated, he's saying to her in the background, I'm going to go and pick up your parents.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, please don't leave me. She doesn't know that the killer's not still in the house. They haven't seen Min at this point. They don't know where he is.
No. And
she's terrified. She has just seen the most traumatic thing that anyone could ever possibly see.
In the translation, he actually says to her, Robert says to her, I'm more scared than you are.
Sorry, what?
What? I don't understand.
Even if that's true, you're her fucking husband.
You're her husband. Why aren't you trying to let go?
Stay with her.
If you're that scared that there could say someone still be in the home or whatever, and that it's, then remove both of you from the home, not you, I'm leaving you here. That doesn't make any sense to me.
He leaves.
Yeah.
He goes and gets his car and he drives the 50 minutes to go and pick up.
Well, he's actually on the phone to the parents and he actually says to them to get on the train. You need to get here. And so he was actually telling them to get on the train to come to them. He eventually then changes his mind and decides, no, he'll drive out there to get them, because I think that was all of a, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we'll get to it, I guess. But yeah. It's very weird. But I can fully understand the operator. He is badgering her. It's not great.
It's so unpleasant.
But I understand.
It's so uncomfortable to
But I get it from the perspective of he's got en route people coming. He's got ambulance and police on their way, but they don't know what they're walking into. And so he needs to get information so that these people aren't walking into potentially an axe murderer, kind of scenario. They need to know, is there someone in the room, in the house with a gun, a weapon, of sorts, before they go sending in more people into that house. But he cannot get out of her anything that makes sense. There is no information coming out of her that is actually sensical.
Eventually, towards the end of the call, when you can actually hear the police sirens in Cathy's phone, you can hear that the police are on their way.
Yeah.
Which I believe police got there before the ambulance did. You can hear she does start to sort of calm down enough that she's more coherent.
Yeah.
But then by that point, he's like, oh, they should be at the door now, and then the phone kind of cuts out.
Yeah.
But then I can imagine that would then just reignite a whole next, I don't know, I just think you listen to her and you listen to how traumatized she is. It just breaks my fucking heart.
Absolutely.
It's awful to hear. It's
awful.
So uncomfortable to hear. So Robert's off picking up his in-laws to bring them to the house where they're – well, at this stage we don't actually know where Min is.
No,
but,
they still don't know where he is. Yeah.
You know, where some of her
I don't think he'd left just yet because
I thought
the
he
police
left straight away.
He was still there. No.
Okay.
Because the police arrived and he was there.
Oh, right. I thought he'd... Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for a bit later on, he is there. And so when the police arrive and they walk in and she's explaining that this is Lily in this room and there's the two boys in that room and there's Irene in that room and we don't know where my brother is, right? She then starts saying, actually, look under the doona, like, and the police do then lift back the doona cover and they do discover that Min is actually in the bed but was hidden by the doona cover. And so that's when she found that her brother was also murdered in that same room. Because as she said afterwards, like prior to that, there was thought of like, was this a murder-suicide scenario? Was this a murder? Sorry, not murder-suicide. Had the brother murdered all these people, and has he left?
As in Min murdered everyone?
Had Min murdered everyone and left? Which I find that really interesting that she thought that of her brother immediately. In that aftermath of walking into that's where your brain went straight away.
Yeah, that's a fair
Whereas
point.
I would probably more go to the fact of like, where is he? Has he been taken by these people?
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like that's where my thought would go of my brother.
Definitely.
Whereas hers immediately went to, has he murdered everybody and taken off?
Yeah, that's curious.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me think different things.
And then when they found him, there was still question over whether it was a murder-suicide scenario. Did he still do this? Or,
it was pretty quickly
which they quickly determined.
Out.
No, there was no evidence
way
of self-inflicted injuries. No one in the house had self-inflicted injuries, so therefore they were all murdered. No one had actually taken their own life in this scenario.
Yeah.
So but no, Robert was definitely there when they found
So
Min.
he must have left pretty soon
After that he left.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the police are now looking, they've obviously blocked off the house, set up a crime scene, and they're trying to figure out exactly what's happened. They left the bodies in situ for over a day, I think, while they were trying to figure out exactly.
Processing all of that information would be just huge.
And just the amount, some of the photos I've seen, there's so much blood. There's so much. Even you can see that, especially with the two boys in their room, there was a lot of things that were displaced. I think those boys really did put up a massive fight.
Well, that's what was determined in the autopsy and things that the boys actually. So when we get to Lily and Min, they found were murdered in their sleep. Whereas, the boys, they determined actually fought their attacker.
Yeah, so what they think happened is that maybe the boys woke up while their mum and dad were being murdered.
And potentially Irene as well. So,
because she had some defensive wounds as well, didn't she?
Yeah.
On her arms. So, obviously in processing this scene, they're trying to figure out exactly what happened, but the immediate, I guess, thought as well was for Brenda, because Brenda's overseas.
Well, even having said that, what the police did determine too was that her bedroom door had never even been opened.
Yeah, so there was blood, there were footprints all throughout, sort of basically from room to room. There were the door handles to Henry and Terry's room and the door handle to Irene's room. They both had blood on them, so they could see that somebody with a bloody handprint had opened those two doors. Brenda's bedroom was skipped over, so the killer would have had to have walked past Brenda's bedroom door to get to Irene's bedroom door, and it was never even open. There was not a bloody shoe print or footprint in there.
No.
So the way that Brenda tells this story, again, incredibly heartbreaking, but I think it's a sign of the times because she actually found out about this on Facebook.
Which is just terrible. It is just awful.
Somebody who she was on the trip with sent her a photo.
I can't even believe
they
did this. I just
can't believe it either. But dumb 14-year-olds, just obviously not thinking things through. So it was a news article that had a photo of her house and it was like family dead or something like that.
Something horrific.
And then within that time, the principal of the school that she went to had been notified of the deaths. She'd contacted the teacher in charge over in New Caledonia and they organised for her to be put on the next plane back to Australia with a chaperone from the school. And then when Brenda got back to into the airport in Sydney. Her auntie, uncle and cousin, along with the police, were waiting for her, and they took her immediately into an interview room to tell her what had happened, to tell her face-to-face what had happened. And she said as soon as she saw her auntie at the airport, she said as soon as she saw the look on her face, she knew that it was all real. Like up until then, she didn't quite believe it. Of course, you'd be in denial.
Absolutely.
No, surely something else has happened.
Yeah.
I've only been gone for a few days.
She got like one Facebook message like come through of like this thing, and she kind of was like, is this like a sick joke kind of thing? And then a second one came through and she was like, wait, what's going on here? But yeah, still didn't really, it wasn't until I think that people, like the teachers came and spoke to her that she was like, this is real. But even then it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Until she got
you'd be in
home.
shock.
Yeah. Oh, just how awful for her to find out that way. I
Absolutely horrific. The only thing that kind of makes me think, thank God, she was sharing a room with her best friend at the time. And so her friend was with her throughout this whole thing. And I just think, thank goodness she wasn't alone. Like I just feel like that would have just made it that little bit worse. I mean, an already horrific situation
but
way
so
worse.
far away too would be just
It would
awful.
it would be awful. Like I know when I was younger and sort of traveling around overseas, and like Peter and I went on a big trip when we were in our 20s. We went to Europe, and I remember thinking at the time, like, what would happen if something happened? Like I'm so far away.
Same.
And I'm sure everyone thinks that when they travel.
Yeah.
But I'm so far away, to take me a day or more to get back home.
Absolutely.
I don't know. You've always got that thought in the back of your mind. And then for poor Brenda, what she then ended up coming back to was that her entire family, everyone she lived with, had been annihilated.
That's just...
It's unfathomable.
Absolutely. And at 15... How do you do that?
That is just absolutely horrendous.
And what's terrible is that the worst of it's, not over,
No.
Like
well, the police ended up fairly early on setting up Strike Force Norburn to investigate these killings because, as you said, they very quickly determined that they were all homicides, and they needed to figure out what had happened and why it had happened and who'd done it, obviously.
Yes.
This was just such an awful thing. Now, Brenda was placed in the care of her auntie and uncle. It was decided that they would take over her care because her grandparents lived too far away from school, and I guess her auntie and uncle were sort of, close to the age of her parents and probably maybe a little bit more capable. Brenda said that at the time, though, she actually wanted to move back into her family home. She wanted to live there. She wanted to feel connected or close.
I can understand that.
But it didn't eventuate that way. She ended up moving in with her auntie and uncle and her cousin. She continued attending the same school. She said her auntie did everything for her in terms of making her school lunches, taking her to all of her extracurricular activities and really trying to support her while also grieving the loss of her brother and, the extended family, and then also trying to support her parents because Min's parents and Cathy's parents, they broke down over this. Yeah. They had zero capacity to take on care for Brenda, in my opinion. They could, even if they wanted to, I don't think they could have taken that on. This broke them.
I know that there was people who there was a public funeral for the deceased in this, and it was commented on that the way that her grandparents were in such utter grief that they were not capable of even understanding that there's a young girl here who potentially needs your care. They weren't really taking care of Brenda in that. They were worrying about themselves and their own grief, which I'm not judging that on them.
No.
But they were in a state of absolute distraught.
I just look at that and I think, thank God for Cathy, because she really did stand up in that situation. And she and Robert continued to operate the business. And
so in that, with Min's passing, everything that he legally owned went straight to Brenda. Even though she's only 15, his will was written in the way that it would all go on to his kids. So with the last remaining heir being Brenda, that all went to her. So she's only 15 though, she can't take on all of those things. So Robert stepped in as sort of executor of all of that, I guess you call it. And, he was able to then, caretake all those things until she was going to be of an age where she could, take over those roles.
Or decide what she wanted to do, because I think she was even too young to sell the business. She couldn't have done that. I don't think there was some loophole there where she had to wait regardless. I'm not quite sure there
was certainly other things he was able to sell though and stuff. So
yeah.
I'm not sure to what extent he had
control over
things, but he certainly was basically put in that role of looking out for her financials and things in that.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess they maintained her life in that she kept going to the same school and kept stayed in the same extracurricular activities, and they were feeding her and housing her and clothing her and all of that sort of stuff. So and I'm sure all of that money came out of the estate, but they were facilitating that.
Yeah, definitely.
This poor girl,
oh my
can you even imagine taking on a 15-year-old girl into your home who had gone through such a trauma? I actually can't imagine how you would cope as your own family unit taking something like that on.
15-year-old girl without all that would be hard work.
Yeah.
I can only imagine that would be absolutely so hard.
Yeah.
But they're looking at this scene then of these 5 dead people. Basically the police sort of determined that there was some interesting elements to this, in that Brenda's room was untouched. The person who entered the home didn't break and enter. They potentially used a key or were welcomed into the home somehow, so there was elements to this that meant that it was potentially someone that was known to the family.
Yeah, so the police determined that and the coroner determined that their time of death was somewhere between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. So that made the police think that whoever gained entry had a key.
Yeah.
They weren't let into the home, but they were able to access the home.
The fact that the majority of the people who were murdered in their sleep too, that there wasn't an adult who had opened the door and let this person in. They were in their beds still, so no one had come out of their bedrooms and opened the door. So this person was known to the family and that they had a key, but they also knew that Brenda wasn't home. Now, what was the reasoning behind? Was it just they knew she wasn't there and then that's fine, or do they know she wasn't there? And was a good reason, that they didn't want her to be killed in this? Questions to be answered. The brutality of the murders was very interesting to the police as well.
And also the fact that Min was covered up.
Yes.
That was definitely something the police looked into in terms of a profile for the killer and what that meant.
Yes.
Being that he was the only one who was covered.
Yes.
Post-mortem.
Yep. They decided the murder weapon was some sort of hammer of some sort, which, I mean, to not get too into it, but these people were brutally murdered with a hammer, attacked.
And asphyxiated.
Yes. And so it was very intense, very hands-on and very close, as in, shooting someone with a gun or something at a distance is very different to shooting someone up close. Same with, using a hammer or asphyxiating somebody. That's contact. You're very close up with that person, which is, it says a lot about, I think, the personality or the relationship that that person has, and then also the emotion behind this attack.
Definitely. It was very personal.
Yeah.
And the manner of death and the reason, once they found out that they'd been asphyxiated as well as beaten, the boys in particular, I think because they were upright and moving around and obviously trying to figure out what was going on, their deaths were particularly brutal. And I believe Terry, the younger boy, sustained something like 12 blows to his head with the hammer, and then with the hammer-like object. They don't know that it was a hammer. And he was also then asphyxiated, just to really make sure that that he was dead, I think, in the end of it. And so, you're right. The police are okay, well, this has the signs of somebody who really knew these people. There was obviously a personal vendetta here, and this looks like it was payback for something, or it was definitely emotionally motivated.
Yeah.
So
Athletic Brewing Company crafts award-winning non-alcoholic beers for those who want to be part of every round. With over 185 flavor awards, they're exceptional NA beers that fit your lifestyle and any social occasion. Summer's full of good times, and Athletic fits right in. Go to athleticbrewing.com to have brews delivered to your door or find them at a bar, restaurant, or store near you. Near beer. Athletic Brewing Company. Fit for all times.
Obviously, when this all first happened, they immediately, of course, interviewed Robert and Cathy. Cathy conducted her first interview with the police without an interpreter present.
Yep.
Robert decided he wanted an interpreter because he felt that he could speak more freely in Cantonese. So I find that interview really, you can hear them if you want to. I find that interview so disjointed to listen to, and you can definitely tell things get lost in translation because questions that are asked, the answers that come back don't quite match in a lot of instances, and they're the things that I want to know about. They're the things that if, obviously the police are asking these questions for a reason. They want to know the answer. Things like, well, did you go and touch such and such? And sometimes he's like, oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I get it. In a traumatic situation, you may not remember. But then later on in the same interview, they ask him the question in a bit of a different way. And he's like, well, no, I told Cathy not to go anywhere near them and not to touch them because they were clearly dead and I didn't. So hold on, wait, did you go in there and touch them or didn't you? Or did you hold Cathy back from going in there? Or this is in particular, they were talking about the boys at this time. And I'm like, well, hold on, wait a minute. It's like, I don't know, there was just some concoction of things going on. And then I think the language, the translating back and forth, I think shit was getting lost amongst all of that.
Because the other thing I think, I don't know if it's the right time to bring it up or not, but like the fact that he is medically trained, I find interesting whether or not he did touch the bodies, because I would have thought that as a medically trained person, you would touch the bodies to assess whether or not they were dead or whether or not he could intervene medically to assist them.
I could not agree more. And this is what gets me about the fact that the way Cathy describes it in her first statement is that Robert was always behind her.
Yeah.
Like he followed her in, and instead of then going, yes, I'm a medical trained professional, and going in and going, you stay out here. Like I get your significant other not wanting you not wanting them to see things. You wouldn't want to see things, but your training you think would give way to that, and you'd be like, fuck, what can I do here?
Yeah.
Let me go and see if I can find a pulse. He didn't know.
Nope.
You don't know. You look at the blood and you go, yeah, they're probably dead, but
as a medical person,
you
need to like have that determined.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can't imagine them just going, him not going and just literally using two fingers and checking for a pulse. Like, surely that would be a fairly simple thing for him to do, to kind of go, oh my God, there is a faint pulse here. Well, like, quick, let's try and intervene, do something. Or no, they are absolutely dead and this is shit. Like, there's nothing I can do to help. That, yeah.
Which then you think would also elicit a certain type of response if that was the case. But
yeah.
None of that actually took place.
No. Which I'm not suggesting that anyone was alive at this point. I do believe they were all dead at that point.
They were.
But, but still you would think if someone who had never been in that scene would check.
I think they were found at around 9 a.m. and the latest the coroner puts their death is 5 a.m. So they were definitely all deceased by then.
Yes.
But he didn't know that.
No.
Well. Okay.
Well.
So despite the fact that the police were doing their best to try and figure out what was going on, the investigation was, I guess, slow going in a lot of ways. But the more they looked into it, the more the net kind of started to tighten around Robert. So in sort of May of 2010, the police were able to obtain a search warrant for Robert and Cathy's house. Now, a lot of this is because he had been interviewed several times at this point, being that he was the one to discover the bodies. There were anomalies in his statements. They wanted to clarify things.
There's also been some interesting interactions that had been noted.
Definitely.
Particularly between Brenda and him, where he had like verbally abused Brenda in front of people.
Other people, which I find really interesting.
Yeah.
In particular in front of the
principal of the school
principal.
She had noted she was actually someone who was sort of speaking to the police, sort of saying, when they touched base around how things were going and what people were around and that she had also been interviewed at one point, and she had said that she just found it uncomfortable, the relationship between Robert and Brenda.
But she said to the police, I think he's the murderer. But very, very early on.
Yeah, she literally from I think it was the funeral, watched some interactions between Brenda and Robert, and just that's when she was like, no, I think it's him, which is very interesting.
Very interesting.
But again, I mean, as police officers, they may have fully agreed with her at that point. I think they probably did. But they have to find evidence to...
That's right. And they need cause to be able to get a search warrant as well. So
and this is the thing where I think they had that information and kind of they immediately went like, right, is Brenda safe? Thinking that this could be someone who did murder the rest of her family. Is she safe? Now, they apparently assessed the situation and decided that she was, because Cathy was in the home. I question all of this. And I understand they need to gather evidence and things, and you don't want to tip someone off that you're looking at them, prior to you really wanting them to know that you're looking at them. But this was a 15-year-old girl in a very vulnerable situation, and they left her in that scenario and just sort of went, well, yeah, we're keeping an eye on it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I find that really hard.
Yeah.
To get my head around.
I do too. It's a very interesting thing. But then Brenda has said that she took comfort in being in their home because...
On a number of occasions, the police did speak to her and ask her how she was going and check in with her.
And was she happy there?
And she kept saying that she wanted to be there with them. And she was with family. And as I said earlier, she'd been raised
her upbringing
to be like you be with family.
Yeah.
And that family was where safety was.
Yep, absolutely.
Unfortunately.
That's not necessarily the case. So we're talking now, as I was saying, in May of 2010 now, the police were able to obtain a search warrant for Robert and Cathy's house. And boy, oh boy, did they turn that place inside out. Yeah. Oh, my God. So they took so much stuff that they thought would potentially be evidence. They went forensically through so much of the house. They went through their books. They went through their, their financials. They were sort of looking at where they were sitting, how things were happening, how money was exchanging from, how Min was paying Robert. They got really granular in terms of all of that sort of stuff and really kind of set the scene for exactly what was happening in the lead up to all of this. And what they found was a stain on the garage floor. Now, they didn't know what this stain was. It was a dark coloured stain. It was, I guess, an anomaly in the floor in that the rest of the floor didn't have a stain. So they've looked at that. They've named it stain 91, which says to me there were at least 90 other stains around the house.
I think in general in the whole investigation, because I've actually heard an interview with the forensic biologist who found the stain.
Okay.
And she said that they had literally gone from top to bottom of that garage. And
Did you see how much it was in that garage?
And this was
though?
the thing. There was,
oh my God.
There was no floor space, of sort of a pathway through really anywhere. There was so much stuff that they had done all of that, and then they were left with the floor. That she said they found 5 stains in total on the floor. But this particular one became stain 91.
Okay.
Was the one that actually because the thing is, what they do at the crime scene and to test it to kind of go, oh, this is something, because there was probably plenty of stains on the floor, but whether or not it was something related to, could be blood or could be something related to a crime, they can do minor tests to be able to determine that at the time as to whether or not they
can do presumptive tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were 5 that were found that were potentially something taken to the lab. It was stain 91 that they found to have DNA, a mixture of DNA within it. But as she was saying to me, now you probably understand this stuff far more than I do, that there was this, they didn't do other testing prior. You can do pre-testing to kind of determine, is it blood, is it saliva, is it, kind of what is it, what kind of bodily fluid is it?
Yeah.
They decided to not do that testing because that would waste the minimal that they had. So then they jumped straight to doing the DNA testing because they had so little.
Yeah. It was a tiny stain.
Yeah. So they found within this tiny little, like when she said it was a stain, it was a scuff kind of.
It literally
of it.
looks like a scuff.
Yeah. She said it wasn't a droplet. It wasn't like it had dropped off of, a little bit of blood had dropped from somewhere. Like, I'm not saying it was blood because they don't know, but it wasn't a drop or anything. It was a scuff. Like, I mean, in my mind, I'm picturing like, say, something that was on the bottom of someone's shoe.
And it's kind of like wiped off.
It's wiped off. Like it's.
So I've just got a picture of it here.
Yeah.
It's basically, it's like
half a centimetre?
Yeah, it's like half a centimetre wide by maybe 1.5 centimetres long. Like it is tiny.
Yes. But in that sample, there was a mixture of 5 people's DNA, all of being the victims who were in the house, not in Robert's house, in Lin's house.
Yep. Min and Lily's house.
Yeah.
Yep. So that says a lot, doesn't it?
Now, the other bit of evidence that they found also linking Robert was the fact that the footprints that they found in the house, there was 24 bloody footprints throughout the home. Mm-hmm. Now, they were from a size 10 men's shoe.
I think it was 9.
Was it size 9? So it just so happened that Robert also wears the same size shoe, which, I mean, many people do. That doesn't mean he's the murderer. But it was determined that it was a particular brand of Asics that had been discontinued. And he happened to own a pair of that.
Now, just really quickly before you get to that, sorry.
Yeah,
when the police were able to get the search warrant for the house, they were also allowed to get a warrant to place a listening device and a recording device in the G family home, so in Robert and Cathy's home. Go on.
Yes, that's very important.
Sorry, go on.
Yes, no. Yep. So, they'd already determined that he had the same size foot, and they were then able to put these listening devices and cameras within the house, which obviously Robert and Cathy didn't know were there. As much as they've got a warrant for them, the residents were not aware of them being put there. So there was a particular footage that was found where in the very background of the video, they can see that Robert is doing something, and they, we have to sort of enhance it to try to sort of look to see what he's doing. And it turns out that what he was doing was cutting up a shoebox, an
Asics shoebox.
An Asics shoebox, yes. And getting it all wet and everything and getting rid of it.
He was flushing it down the toilet.
Yeah.
I mean, way to block your toilet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the police, and he was saying to Cathy at the time, they were talking in Cantonese. So she was well aware. She could see him doing this. And he was saying, well, they're just going to use this basically against me. Okay, yep. Well, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to hide.
But that's very coincidental that you own that pair of shoes. The police are hearing,
he's cutting up this box into these tiny little pieces, and then all you can hear in the background is flush, fill up, flush, fill up, flush. It took a lot to get rid of a box, by the way. If you ever want to flush a box, takes a lot of flushes.
Why would you want to flush?
Why wouldn't you just burn it or something?
Yes.
Like, why are you putting it down your toilet?
Oh my God, yes. Why not just burn it?
Yeah. Then there'll be no evidence. Like, there's nothing left behind. And you're not clogging your toilet.
No.
Again, we don't want to give anyone ideas.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, so they've got this bit of evidence, a lot of circumstantial evidence then too on top of that in terms of, a jealousy over the success that Min and his family had with the news agency, and that Robert had not had that kind of success here in Australia. So, a lot of bits and pieces that got put together that they did end up arresting him on the 5th of May 2011.
Mm-hmm. So it took them 2 years. Almost 2 years.
Now, I just want to throw in here with that stain 91 and something else this forensic biologist brought up that, so it took 2 years for them to find that stain. And on that day, she arrived at that house to start that process of doing that, executing that warrant basically.
Okay.
And what when she arrived, she realised that she'd actually been in the vicinity 2 years earlier on this case.
Oh.
Because the next door neighbour had called the police and said, with the whole of the event of everything that was going on with the Lin family, she believed that there was a blood stain on her fence.
Oh.
So the police went, so she had gone out there and to investigate this and check the fence of this house, and they didn't find anything that was blood. But obviously this neighbour had put a few things together and gone, I'm suspicious of the man who lives next door, and could that stuff on my fence be blood?
Wow.
So doesn't that tell you that there were people who were already thinking, I mean, if the principal was thinking that at that point, the next door neighbours kind of going,
This seems a bit sus.
Seems sus, this guy, and, you know, yeah, okay, it turned out to not be blood. But it just makes me think that people didn't trust this guy already.
Agreed. I mean, I think the principal has a really good foundation for why she thinks that. Like the fact that he treated Brenda in front of other people. And this was what she was saying. It was so uncomfortable the way he treated her. And then she was like, and that's in front of us.
Yes,
imagine what was going on in that home to a traumatized 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Just really quickly as well, I forgot to mention before, the police suspect... Oh, actually, no, I'll get into that in a minute. No, sorry. No, go.
So obviously, Robert is arrested. He is charged with 5 counts of murder at this point. So this is 2011. This, unfortunately, then I guess the police are still then gathering more evidence. As much as they have charged him and they've put him in jail, they still want more time to completely investigate this. So it means that there is quite a delay between him being arrested and them getting to trial.
Like bloody 18 months or something.
It took ages. So we're looking at 2014 before a date was set for the trial.
Yeah.
Now, in the process of getting to that trial date, they were about to start the trial when Brenda decides that it's time, I guess, or found the right person asked the right question. I don't know what made her come to this conclusion that this was the time to say this. But when she was being interviewed at a point with one of the lawyers, she did confess that...
Disclose.
Well, not disclose. I shouldn't say confess. That's the wrong word. She's disclosed that Robert had been sexually abusing her.
From before her family was
well
murdered.
Before her family were murdered. So this is key evidence, again, of like motive to all of this. It just absolutely... is horrific. So they can that trial.
Just when you think a piece of shit can't be more of a piece of shit for murdering 5 people, he's then also abusing
his 15-year-old and younger.
Much younger.
Niece. Which is just
as if she hadn't been through enough already. Yep.
God, yeah. So that trial then is set aside.
It's aborted. So they basically dismissed the jury. They weren't going to reconvene that jury. They had to actually start a whole new
over
trial
again because this was clearly stuff they wanted to put into the trial, which they needed to have time to, share that information with the other side, all those sorts of things. You can't just sort of, bring stuff out at random.
Yep.
So they started again another trial in 2014. Again, the second trial was started, but again had to be aborted due to the judge falling ill, which wouldn't you just know it? Like bloody hell, it's just horrific. So they got set for another trial in 2015. This is the third trial. Now, this trial does go ahead in full. Brenda's evidence is given. There's also evidence from a particular witness, A, which we can get into as well. Mm-hmm. The evidence that we've presented in terms of the blood stain 91, I shouldn't say blood stain, we don't know if it was blood, the stain 91, all those things were presented, but how unfortunately the jury could not come to a unanimous decision. So they just couldn't agree. It was a
hung jury.
It completely hung jury, so they had to abort and start again as well.
Yeah, so do you want to talk a little bit about witness A? I mean, he comes into the next trial as well.
Yeah, so he did present again at the next trial.
So the next trial was held in December, or started in, was it December of 2015?
I think you might be right. Sorry, I just changed my page.
Oh, no, sorry, June of 2016, the fourth trial begins.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, I mean, this one went for about 7 months at this point. But witness A was also called to testify again. Now, witness A testified that while he was playing ping pong in prison with Robert, he showed him how to press a specific pressure point on the neck to stop a heart or incapacitate a person. And he said this was a way to asphyxiate somebody and, really incapacitate them, if not kill them.
Now, Robert back in China, had martial arts training. So
he was also an ENT.
And an ENT. So he had knowledge of these things. That's not it's not unlikely that he knew this stuff. This is very highly likely that he knew that.
Yeah. I mean, 4 of the 5 victims had signs of neck compression or asphyxia on autopsy. And the Crown argued that it was a direct application of his medical expertise to ensure that these people were actually dead following being struck with the hammer-like device.
Yeah, yep. So witness A, who was he? I say he was another prisoner in the jail with Robert, obviously. But he had been convicted of armed robbery, drug offences, assaulting a police officer. He wasn't a good person. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, no.
However, one aspect of of who he was that he had basically spent, not consecutively, but various times in his life, he'd been in prison for around about 18 years in total. But he was sort of coming towards the end of his sentence of his time. And he was actually at a point where he was at this point that he was put in maximum security with Robert C. Which he was actually at a point where he was had the chance to be able to be moved to minimum security. But because he started this relationship with Robert, they decided to keep him in this maximum security. So he committed to them and said, okay, I'll forego life of luxury over at minimum security to stay here and keep this relationship being built with Robert and get more information. So I find that interesting and potentially, because it's always interesting to have fellow inmates.
There's definitely a conflict,
as you would say in Wentworth, lag on someone. So I mean, it's an absolute no-no. The witness has said that at this point he would have been. Well, he gave a fairly graphic image of what could happen to him if it was found out that he was sharing information about a prisoner, with the police.
Yep.
So he was putting himself in jeopardy doing this because he was actually taking in recording devices. He was wearing a wire when he was having conversations with Robert. So he took a massive risk to do that. But, I mean, it's always, juries don't generally believe inmates because they do get benefits from doing this stuff too. Yeah, he had struck a deal that if he was going to stay in the maximum security and not head over to minimum security, he'd get an extra $500 a month in his, pay.
Stipend,
so that's considerable. He was also going to get, some time taken off of his time in prison. So, he was definitely getting benefit out of doing it, but he was risking his life too. I do definitely think that's worth noting.
Yeah. Yeah. But having said that, okay, yes, he was risking his life probably, but he was sort of also under the protection of the guards. They would have known what was going on.
You watched Wentworth?
I know, but I mean, they've got a duty of care to the prisoners as well. Yes. I think they would have been watching this like a hawk.
Well, I don't know that the guards would have known that he was doing this necessarily.
I think they would have known.
Yeah, no? Yeah? I don't know. I mean,
maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But this witness A also said that he was having a discussion. So in order to kind of get Robert talking about all of this, he brought up the fact that he was talking about the fact that metal is actually a porous substance.
Yes.
And you can never actually fully get rid of DNA from a hammer or something like that. If you've used that in somebody's DNA is always going to be found.
Yeah.
And witness A said that, and I believe this was actually part of the recorded conversation.
Yeah, it was.
That Z seemed obsessed with how you would hide DNA within a metallic object.
Actually, the quote is, "How would it look if the murder weapon turned up during the middle of my trial with someone else's prints on it?"
Yeah.
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 So
he was questioning things.
Yeah.
So what the police actually think happened in terms of the murder weapon, this is what I was getting at before. They think that when Min went to pick up his in-laws on that morning, on that Saturday morning, that he actually used that time to dispose of the murder weapon. Because what Min thought would happen, this is again all according.
Robert.
Sorry, I mean Robert. Sorry, oh my God, sorry, I mean Robert.
Yeah.
Sorry. What Robert thought was going to happen on that morning was that they would probably go, as you said, to open the news agency and somebody else would go and find.
Well, on this recording, he was recorded saying, I didn't want for my wife to find them.
Yes. He didn't think she would.
He didn't want to be the person who was there finding them.
No.
Because he thinks that would make it look like he had
guilty.
done it.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to be there that morning. Like he wasn't really intending on being in that house at that time. But that's how it obviously played out.
He thought it played out. He thought it would play out differently to what it did.
But he thought that his wife would go there and find them and he wouldn't. So, which I just...
Then why did he go?
But what an absolute piece of shit,
he's a total fucking piece of shit.
You want your wife to go and find her brother and his family dead like that? Like you are going to put her in that position? Oh, God, no.
He doesn't care.
No. But, so he was, on record of saying that, which is an admission of... It's a confession of being involved.
Definitely. The prosecution certainly took it that way.
Yeah, yeah. But, so with the hammer then, did he, dispose of that, as you say, when he was on his way to pick up the grandparents? That maybe why he changed his mind from telling them to get the train.
Yep.
But he kind of went, oh, shit, actually now this is my good opportunity to go and get rid of that. But having said that, he clearly in this, what they do is they set up an undercover cop by the name of Harry who... This witness A says he knows this bloke who works in a mortuary or something like that, so he could get DNA from a dead person, say, and then they could put it on the weapon. So what he's basically saying there is that he knows where the weapon is and he can produce it at any moment, which I find really, really interesting. So he knows it's not like he has then piffed it somewhere that it can't be found. Or disposed of it in a way that it cannot be.
He's gone and hidden it somewhere.
He's hidden it somewhere and he knows where that is.
Do you think that's like a trophy in some way, or what do you think that's about? Or is it a control thing?
Just a control thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Don't know. But he's definitely admitting that it's somewhere that it can be found.
Yeah.
And that he could go get it and he could potentially put this DNA on it then and then randomly have it show up.
Yeah.
Whoa. So, this is all in recordings. This isn't just witness A's word.
Yeah.
I know that it's some level of entrapment, offering this up, but I think it's very convincing to me personally.
Yeah.
That he is admitting to being at fault in some way with all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So there was a fair bit that came out with witness A. But, obviously it's always controversial when a prisoner becomes a witness and lags on one of their fellow inmates.
Lags.
Yeah. The other thing he admitted to witness A apparently was that he had that he said something to Robert your wife is no problem. You told him before when the murder happened your wife sedated, and Robert replied yeah. So he admitted there, I guess I guess he's being led in that statement though. He didn't actually say the words I sedated
my
Cathy.
wife. Yeah.
But he has agreed that yes, that's what happened. So that way he could leave the house, commit these murders and return. We're talking as you said, between 2 and 5 a.m. somewhere in there.
It would take hours because then he's had to come home.
Yeah. They lived close, but still.
He's had to obviously
clean up,
remove the clothes that he was wearing because he would have been covered in blood.
Yeah.
And Cathy not to wake up because in her first interview with police, they talk about that. Do you sleep in the same room as your husband? Yes. Would you notice if he got up to go to the toilet? Yes, I would. But on this particular night,
but that's where she changes her statement too. I find her a little bit interesting. I've got some question marks over her.
I've got a lot of question marks over her.
Yeah.
But then I also wonder about her motivation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do too.
Just knowing him.
So in one statement, she initially says something along the lines of, he was beside me all night. Mm-hmm. And then another time I think she said something like, I don't know. She said originally, I assume he was or something like that. And then later she really doubled down on it. So, oh, no, he definitely was with me all night.
That's exactly how it happened. Yeah. So, when she was first asked, she was like, oh, I don't know, I slept through the whole night. And I mean, we always sleep in the same room.
Yeah.
To then subsequent interviews, she was like, he definitely slept with me the whole night. Now, let's talk about Cathy a bit now because as you said, she's really interesting. I feel for her in so many ways because I don't think she knew initially that her husband had done these murders. You think so?
I don't know.
I don't think she did. The reason for that is that
the reaction.
Triple O call.
True, the reaction.
I think you could not fake that.
No, okay, no, I agree with that. But I there's something weird about when the police arrive and they still don't know where Min is.
Yep.
Right? And so they're looking, apparently, according to the police, they were fairly convinced that Robert told Cathy, tell them to look under the doona. Tell them to look under the doona.
Yes.
And then Cathy says, look under the doona.
Yep.
She then now won't admit that.
Not anymore, but isn't it on a police recording device?
I think so.
I think it's on one of their body-worn cameras or something like that. There is solid evidence that happened.
To it. Like, multiple people overheard it.
Yeah, maybe it was that.
Or it was actually recorded. It's one or the other, I believe. I just know police believe that's what happened.
Yeah.
But she does not tell that story now. So why are you covering those sorts of things up for him?
Yeah, see, this is what I want to talk about because I think I genuinely don't think Cathy knew that he was going to kill them or anything like that.
No.
I think about the way that Robert was with Brenda and the fact that he was sexually abusing her. And did Cathy know something about that? Because, she must have had an inkling maybe.
Yep.
What abuse was being then perpetrated upon Cathy from Robert?
Son?
And their son, I don't know. That nothing's come out about that. But then the way that she so fiercely defends him
to this
day, when she's seen that scene, is it a psychological? Is she trying to preserve herself? Is it psychological? Like, is she protecting herself by going, oh no, my husband could never have done that because the thought of that I couldn't get over, like I couldn't live with that? Or is she protecting him because she's afraid of him and she's afraid that he's just going to do the same thing to her should the opportunity arise and should she go against him?
The only thing of that is when you think, okay, he's now, I guess we can get to that point that he is in jail. What, you wouldn't then go, okay, well, now I can come out and tell my story?
She actually even stood up in court and said,
he's innocent.
He's innocent. I can't believe you've convicted him.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, that screams survivor of abuse.
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, abusive people who are under that kind of abuse will side with the abuser because it's safer. And I think psychologically, to separate herself from that constant abuse, I don't know that you can just do it at the snap of a finger. Like, he's in jail. I can now just, now I can speak my truth. I think that there's like an ongoing impact of that she can't move from, that he can still have power somehow, even from jail.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
If he is that, which, I mean,
well, the kind of murder he did is someone who has a lot of rage.
And this is what I'm saying, like even the way that the school principal saw the way that he dealt with Brenda, who was really vulnerable at the time. She just lost her entire family and yet he was still treating her horrifically in front of other people to then think about what that is like behind closed doors. Of course, Cathy would have been copying it too.
Yeah. I mean, I do find Brenda interesting and her, and how she speaks about her uncle. And their relationship.
Yep.
But again, abused 100%.
Yep.
And so that's and then I guess there's a layer of a bit of culture over that as well.
Yep.
And that whole idea of, family's the most important thing and you don't speak ill of your family and they're the only people who support you. And then unfortunately that's who has done this shit to her. It must be so unbelievable to comprehend.
Oh.
So I have give her all grace in the world in terms of understanding that for herself. And I believe, I know she's come out of it the other end now. But like that's where I can't get my head around Cathy not being able to go, okay, let's put the murders to the side and go, this is my niece, and he treated her like that because regardless of who murdered, I think at the end of the day, he and Cathy have come to terms with the fact that Brenda's told the truth. It's the murders that he says he's innocent of. I believe that he's admitted to the sexual assault sort of stuff.
Has.
So
he doesn't deny that anymore.
No, he doesn't deny that. So how can Cathy not still go, nah, fuck yeah, I'm not standing up for any of this. I know this about you, I know that about you, put it all together. Yeah, you're capable of doing the other thing too. But she hasn't. She's totally, he's innocent.
I think the only way I can justify it in my mind is that is victimhood the right, like it's that lens that she's looking through it in, that she has to be on Robert's side. Like, what if he got out?
Like absolute pure loyalty.
Yeah. Like, what if he got out? You know, she's probably it's self-preservation in a way. Like,
yeah. Well, there is a small, very small minority of people, and I'm talking like, Reddit threads kind of stuff, that believe that he also is innocent. And their reason mainly for thinking he could still be innocent is that Cathy thinks he's innocent and that a wife would know. And I just, I can't. No. I can't come at it. I think there is enough evidence here. I know people pick apart Stain 91.
I know. But then I look, okay, let's even not count that. To me, that
I think the circumstantial evidence is enough.
Agreed. And the fact that he has he's basically abused Brenda, sexually abused Brenda, then systematically ridded everyone else in her family, got rid of them, any obstacle or anything to it. Like maybe did Min find out? I don't know. Did someone find out about it?
I reckon
about
he just wanted her for himself.
He just gave himself unfettered access to her.
Yep.
Of course she was going to go to them.
The other nail in the coffin in terms of circumstantial evidence that I find is that, so in all of this, as we said, he got control of the finances and things, right? He evicted his in-laws from the house that Min owned.
Yep.
So they were completely homeless. Literally homeless. Now, the thought process here is that he did that so that Brenda couldn't be taken from their home and given to the grandparents, even if Brenda complained and said, I don't want to live there anymore, because
they didn't have
the grandparents didn't have a stable home.
Yep.
What a piece of shit.
Then why
How does Cathy stand for that?
That's what I think. And this again to me speaks to the fact that he just has her totally under his control.
Oh.
Because Cathy, you can see interactions. There's this really sort of touching photo that you can see from the funeral where Cathy is comforting her parents.
Yep.
And I find that it's very genuine. Like she's distressed. She is distraught herself. Her elderly parents are there and she's physically trying to hold them up basically.
Yeah.
And it's a really heartbreaking photo. And so I think I think she would have her parents' best interests at heart. And if she was able and capable of ensuring they were able to keep their home and all of that, she would have, but she couldn't. I honestly believe she couldn't.
No. It frustrates me.
It's horrific. It's horrible. And I think Cathy's a victim in this too.
I do, but
then the thing that kind of gets me on her as well is I feel as though, and there's no proof of this, this is just my own opinion, but I'm like, I feel like she must have known about the abuse with Brenda and did nothing about that. And to me, I actually can't come at that. And
is there a level of her going, oh, now we get all that money too?
Oh, I hadn't. You know what? That thought hadn't actually crossed my mind.
Maybe she was equally. Maybe her and Robert had been talking to each other, going, yeah, it's bullshit that he's been successful and we haven't been.
Maybe
they were both
my thought
shitty with him.
My thought never went there. I was always just like, oh, Robert was doing like scheming this in his own little mind.
I don't know. I reckon she might have been a bit in on it.
Maybe.
Not in on it and murdering them, no. I don't know. I think there'd been manipulation beyond just,
jealousy there too.
I think jealousy there too on her brother's, jealous of her brother and what he had. Yeah. Because, like, to me, she's walked into that house and seen that horrific scene and her brain could immediately justify, oh, my brother's done this to his family. But she can't imagine that her husband could have done it.
Yeah.
That's weird to me.
Yeah.
There's inbuilt hate for your brother.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective.
I honestly, like, to my core, couldn't walk into a scene like that and assume my brother could do that. Never. Whereas she did. So there's got to have been some sort of negative thoughts of hers to her brother.
Or did Robert?
Oh, I think Robert planted it. I think Robert.
So then again, that's the control of him. Like, she has to believe him and go with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's so complicated, I think. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
But, so ultimately, I mean, obviously we got to trial 4, which, I mean, that alone is like more abuse, isn't it, to poor Brenda?
Well, Brenda testified in 3 of the 4 trials.
Yeah.
And her, like, she was a critical witness in all of this in that she was able to give a lot of context around the family setup and all of that sort of thing.
And by the time we got to the 4th trial, the relationship between Cathy and Brenda had completely broken down. So they didn't have a relationship by the time they got to this point anyway.
Which is so sad.
It's sad.
And the way Brenda still talks about her auntie to this day, like, she still has a lot of love and respect for her, even though she's supporting the murderer of her family.
That's and mentally fucks her up anyway.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Brenda just seems like a very forgiving person and a very lovely person.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she was able to provide testimony for the prosecution about the layout of their house and like the fact that Robert knew the house inside out and back to front and had been upstairs. You know, like in some people's houses, maybe if all of the bedrooms are upstairs, as a visitor, you probably would never go upstairs.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
But she was able to testify to the fact that that wasn't necessarily the case. Like, Robert knew, and Cathy, they both knew the layout of the upstairs of the house. That was not something that was sort of like a private area that no one ever went up to.
Because they were that ingrained in each other's lives.
Yeah.
That says a lot to me. That's like, you know, friends that come over, you know, can not go upstairs, but family did. Like, it was, she was probably, you know, they were probably in each other's bedrooms, you know, showing outfits that, you know, Lily had bought and things like that, and being family.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. But yeah, he was eventually he was sentenced to 5 consecutive life sentences. So
love that.
No chance of him seeing the light of day, thank God.
When there's concurrent sentences, it just irks me so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but I mean, at the end of all of this, I mean, as I say, Brenda, she has come out of this as good as you could hope for in all aspects, really. I mean, it's just absolutely tragic. So we're talking 7.5 years between the murders occurring and then the end of the trial, the 4th trial.
Yeah, she was 22, I think, or 23 when the final.
That's a huge amount of time for a person
that's your
time.
Formative years,
absolutely.
Isn't it?
So she was quoted coming out of she read a statement after the trial, which just broke me when hearing her say that, you know, that it had been 7.5 years since she'd had her parents and her siblings and her auntie and all these things that she'd done in that time. She'd finished a uni course. You know, she'd graduated from high school. She'd finished her uni course. She'd, you know, started a life for herself in that time, all without them being there for all those really amazing parts of her life. Which that's just where this is all so freaking senseless and awful.
Fucked up.
But she's now set up she supports other people who have been through traumatic circumstances. So she's really been able to use her experience to now help others in these similar circumstances. Yeah. So that's amazing for her to be able to do that, because I sense from her she's a very private person.
Yeah.
And so coming out about this sexual abuse, which at first was actually kept under wraps, it was not allowed out to the public, that aspect of the trial.
Her identity was suppressed because she was under the age of 18 when the abuse was happening to her.
So it got to a point where she was able to become public with that was her in the trial. And I think that there's been a lot of, she's done a lot of growing within that and being able to consolidate for herself what that means and what she can do with that knowledge and power now in herself.
And use that, in advocacy work and in supporting other people, other victims or survivors of these extremely traumatic situations.
Yeah.
She's a very impressive young woman.
She really is. So she co-founded the Survivor Hub, it's called. Yeah. So the organisation for survivors of sexual assault and trauma. So the organisation helps survivors connect with others who understand the legal process and recovery journey. Mm-hmm. So really all power to her doing all of that work. It wouldn't be easy for her at all to relive all that stuff, but to know that she can help others through it is amazing. So good on her.
In February of 2021, Robert applied to the New South Wales Court of Criminal Appeal for an appeal against his sentence specifically, and that was dismissed. His lawyers at the time argued that the DNA evidence was flawed, which is what we sort of alluded to before. But the three-judge panel unanimously decided that it stood up, and he wasn't allowed. So he's actually not allowed to appeal now. That was his final right.
Yep.
And so he will be in maximum security prison for the rest of his life, and may he rot.
Oh,
the absolute fucking piece of shit.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. He is where he belongs, that is for sure. I mean, God, so just awful. I mean, those young boys. I mean, God, I just can't.
I can't either. Like a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they were trying to defend themselves, and they've probably just heard their parents getting murdered.
Uncle,
like, come on.
The thought of the fact they knew him when he walked into that room, they would have known who it was that was attacking them.
Do you reckon immediately they probably felt relief seeing him, thinking that there was something going on
here.
Next
oh my God, there is something happening, and it breaks me.
And that's like the thought of what their final
oh God, yeah. To realise then, oh no, this bad person is our uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's just horrible.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Not good.
I feel like at the very least, I mean, the fact that he got the consecutive life sentences and he won't see the light of day, he won't step a foot outside of prison at all ever, is absolutely brilliant. But that doesn't help, does it? In terms of what Brenda has to go through and live through for the rest of her life.
As much as we call that justice, I really don't call it. It isn't justice, is it? There is no justice.
There's no justice. No. Brenda talks about how, she's really lucky to have a wonderful network of friends and their families who invite her to Christmas dinners and stuff like that. And I'm like, you don't even have someone to have Christmas dinner with.
No. She's got no family at all anymore. No. I mean, that's just... I saw articles where they called her an orphan, and it's like, it's awful to say that she's an orphan.
Beyond an orphan.
Yeah, it almost doesn't cover it, does it?
I mean, her entire family's been annihilated, and I include Cathy and even the grandparents to a certain extent in that because of the way everything kind of panned out. But yeah,
just awful.
But yet she's such an incredible human that she's turned that into a positive. Like the fact that she's even on the straight and narrow. Oh my God. How?
I know.
It's a testament, I think, to her early years upbringing from her mum and dad.
Yeah, I know there was an interview with the principal, with her school principal, who said she just cannot wait to be invited to her wedding.
Yeah.
Or, and then maybe a baby shower and all these things, and I love that she's got people in her life, when her family, her parents aren't there for those moments, that she has got people around her who are, eager to be there for her for those moments. So, at least she's definitely got,
Well, nothing will ever replace the loss of her family, but
now she can choose a family who will support her through those things, because
that
fuckstick Robert can go rot in jail forever and he's not family.
Nope. Oh God, no. No.
God, no.
All right.
Alrighty.
Well, thank you for joining us for another episode.
Yeah.
Make sure if you would like to win a merch pack, please, I think this might be the last week that you can, jump on and join our Patreon. There's an extra episode every month over there. It's $5 a month. And yeah, for this month you go into the draw to win a merch pack.
Yeah,
So
make sure you sign up before the 4th of June and you will go in the draw.
that's it. Visit our website if you want to check out our merch at twocrimebesties.com/merch, and it takes you to our Redbubble merch page. So if you want to, go and have a bit of a browse and see what's over there, go
Get
right
yourself
ahead.
a bit of absolute piece of shit.
Yeah, definitely apt in this episode.
For sure. And if you want to come back for next week's episode, which we are doing an amazing episode, which I'll tell you in a second what that is, but you need to hit that follow button on whatever app you are using. We really need you guys to do that. That's really going to help us get out more because we really need that at the moment. So just hit that follow button in Spotify, Apple, whatever app you're in.
Yep.
Hit that button and then you'll be able to come back next week and listen to our episode on Oscar Pistorius and
Reva
Steenkamp.
Oh, I think this was one of my ones. I'm like, I really want to do this case.
Want to sink my teeth into this one. Yes.
I can't promise that I won't attempt a South African accent.
Oh, and the car park.
Gotta park your car on the grass. I need my brother to come over and do it. He's freaking amazing at it. Anyway, have a great week, everyone.
Absolutely. Stay curious, crime besties.
Bye.